Hey, welcome to Write More Light. My name is Sarah. This is the Midwest Writing Center. You are watching a web series. Today, in case you don't watch the series, some days you get a short writing lesson from me. Some days I interview some really cool people who are doing really cool things in the arts. Every once in a while, they talk to each other instead of me. So today we are going to talk about guides. Um, There is tremendous pressure in the writing world to get everything right. I mean, for one thing, you start writing something that you really care about, or you just love writing and you keep writing, and eventually somebody puts the idea in your head of audience or publishing, and that's great and fine. I want to read your work. I do. Um, but somewhere in there, we get imposter syndrome, or we get insecure, or we want to figure out like, how do the pros do it? I want to, we want to get better. And somewhere in the process of getting better, because we care, we lose track of why we write. We lose track of um, our own style, our own voice in the in that intention, with that intention. So so we will use a search engine. We will look up writing tricks. We will look up how to be a better writer. We'll look up how to be a better writer of genre, how to be a better poet, how to be a better novelist. Um, and honestly, you can stop the video after this next sentence. It's the most important thing I'm going to say here. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just don't. Just don't. Um, Especially, most importantly, not if you haven't finished what you're writing. And not, this is actually more important, not if you're not confident about your own writing. No, never. Don't do it. Don't do it. The rest of this video is going to explain why. But if you're not secure in your own work, finished with a manuscript or whatever it is, and if you don't know what advice to not take, you should not do that. You should not do that. Um, you can join a workshop group, and sooner or later, I will have a guide on how to find one of those in your area. Um, I've done a little bit of that before on these videos, but I'm gonna bring somebody on who has moved away from a writing group and been looking for one. Um, as far as finding a writing group goes, you there are lots of ways to do that, but don't use a guide. Don't use a guide. Don't do it. The guide doesn't know you. The guide was written by a person. There are no hard, fast rules to being good at writing. It's not like, no, there are no hard, fast rules to being good at writing. Um, the book that we all look to for grammar and punctuation advice, the Strunk and White style guide, um, is lovely. It was made up by Strunk and White. They made it up. Language was invented by humans speaking. When it became written, the only thing that actually mattered, people made lots of rules. Over time, it was not collaborative so much as what became common in large groups. Um, and the only thing that matters most of the time when we're looking at grammar and punctuation is clarity. That's it. If you're not a journalist, if you're not an academic writer, it's those two groups. They have very specific style guides they have to follow every time if they're writing in those styles. If you're not doing that, stop listening to guides before you listen to yourself. Stop listening to guides before you listen to your friends. Stop listening to guides before you listen to your readers. Now, sometimes your friends are going to give you bad advice too. Sometimes your friends are just going to tell you you're perfect all the time. That's not helpful. You're probably not, no matter how good you are. Um, but the guides, and we're going to look at them, I'm going to screen share. They don't know you. They're written by some guy who has strong opinions. Guy is a genderless word in this moment. Every once in a while, they're not written by a human. They're written by like AI or whatever. And it is just opinions that are more or less crowdsourced. No one knows your work if they haven't read it, first of all. Second of all, when you are looking to do revisions, when you are looking to get better, when you're looking to learn to be better, you have to stay true to yourself in your writing. You have to stay true to the style and form of the work you're doing. So doing a find function on your Word document for the word that, and then deleting every single time you see the word that, it'll shorten your word count. It might ruin your clarity. That's a piece of advice that's really, really common and often useful. Not always. For me, I use the word that stylistically. Often I'm using it because that is how the voice sounds. I'm also not worried about word count. Why are you? Why are you worried about word count? Who told you to worry about that? If someone did tell you to worry about that and they have read your work and you don't have a good reason, if there's like money on the line or contract on the line, then you can do that find function. Look for the word that. Read every sentence that you use the word that in and choose carefully. It's not, there are no hard and fast rules. There just aren't. So, don't, don't do it. Don't do it. If you're not interacting with a human being who has read your work, I just somehow left the page I was on that I was going to share. um, they don't know anything. They don't know anything. And the other thing is like some people aren't going to like your work, and that is just how it is. Um, I'm I write stuff that is not what people are used to reading when they go to the bookstore and they pick up a book. I'm not a lot of people's cup of tea. Sorry about that. And that's okay. Not everyone likes everything. So that is another thing to look out for. Like, if your reader doesn't get you, they're not going to be useful giving you feedback. And again, if you've say, I don't know, you hired someone on the internet who you've never met, and they're like, these are the rules to make you a better writer because they're using a guide, and they don't read the genre you write in, or they don't like your voice, they're not going to be helpful. Stop using these guides. Stop using these guides. Things that you can do with the guides if you are confident, if you do know your work well, if you have a specific thing that you want to work on within your own writing, that's another thing. You got to really know your work so that you can know what you like and dislike about your own work. You're never going to write something that is for all audiences. You're not. You're not. Plenty of people don't read literary fiction. Plenty of people don't read creative nonfiction. Plenty of people don't read memoir. Plenty of people don't read romance. And they just don't like it. They just don't like it. And that's fine. But these guides are selling themselves as like catch-alls for all writing. And all writing is different. All writing is different by genre, by voice, by language and culture. I mean that like not in word choice, but in the language that you're speaking in and the culture in which you're writing. You know, the work that I write is more likely to be readable by millennials in the Midwest than it is by ranchers in the Southwest. Just it's just true. Um, so if no matter how, much writing the person does, if they don't understand from where I'm writing, like the culture or headspace, they're going to need to learn my writing really well in order to be able to tell me what to do. So if somebody from South Africa wrote a style guide or whatever, just a how to be a better writer guide. Their English is very, very different from Midwestern American English, which is different from Southeastern American English, which is different from Northeastern American English, which is different from Southwestern American English, which is different from, you got it, Canadian English, British English, Irish English, Australian English. All these things matter. And again, no pre-written text knows anything about what you've written. It doesn't. So we're going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to show you some, sorry, just looking at this page that I'm about to share with you made me sad. We're going to do some screen sharing. And I'm going to show you some examples of what not to look for. Okay, so first I just did a search on Google here. And we all know, right, that we're going to ignore, no matter what, the AI overview because it doesn't know, doesn't have a brain. It's not, it's trying to compile information from these, which is even worse than whoever came up with these. What are rules for good writing? See, this is users, so that's already weird. Get right to the point. Delete fluff. Show, don't tell. Okay. Get right to the point of my sonnet? Get right to the point of my mystery novel? Oh, that doesn't work. Delete fluff. Okay, but what is fluff? Um, Stephen King describes scenery for pages and pages. And if he deletes that, the book disappears. Delete fluff? I don't. Show don't tell is a fun one because I'll give that advice sometimes. The problem is, sometimes it's really boring if you show. For example, if my character is making scrambled eggs for breakfast, I don't need to sit through the whole process of scrambling eggs. You can just tell me that, unless there's a detail that matters. So, show don't tell isn't universal. Limit introductory text or instructions. Well, but what if I need background info? Keep sentences as short as you can? Why? Why? Shorter sentences speed up how you read. So you're going to read really, really fast with short sentences, and you're going to lose information. Paragraphs should be 2 to 3 sentences max. Why? I'm I'm still talking about the same thing. Why would that be? So that's just the first thing that pops up on Google after the AI overview. And every single piece of that was like, no. Let's see and I don't know where this came from. This is probably also AI generated. What are George Orwell's 6 rules for writing? Never use a metaphor, simile, or other figure of speech which you are used to seeing in print. Okay, he says don't be cliche. All right. Never use a long word where a short one will do. Voice matters, style matters. Maybe the long word is the right word. If it's possible to cut a word out, always cut it out. I like this idea. I think brevity is very cool, but not always important. Not always the right thing to do. Voice and style matter. So let's just see. Elements of writing. 10 rules for writing well. Write great sentences always. Okay, how do I do that? No, go away, ad. I don't know. That doesn't tell me how to do anything, actually. And then it says Hemingway said, I write one true sentence, however long it takes. And also, here's another thing. Hemingway, long sentences, so hard to disagree with Orwell over here. Also, the context here says write great sentences always. And then it says somebody asked Hemingway how to get out of writer's block. So what does that have to do with great sentences, and what is a great sentence? Use simple words. Mm, maybe. Um, in order to facilitate the cognitive process to eradicate any potentiality of miscommunication, it is imperative. So this is an example of somebody using not simple words. And then they go again. Use simple words to prevent misunderstandings. So this is giving advice to people in business who are working to communicate, who are not necessarily, I mean, it's all communication, right? But it's not for, this isn't like writerly advice. So that's weird. We go from super writerly advice to not at all writerly advice in one list. State and develop only one idea per paragraph. Okay, well, that's what paragraphs are. Says that's a difficult thing to do. This right here, that's editing advice, not writing advice. Break down complex ideas into chunks. Sure. Again, not writerly advice, just for clarity when you're communicating at work or whatever. Avoid sardine writing. Don't know what that means. Let's find out. By the time you sit down to write something, you usually hold several different ideas in your head. Most of these ideas are related in some way, but storytelling and explaining requires separating those idea clusters. Okay, again, editing advice, not writing advice. Develop style by mastering the basics. That intrigues me. We've got a lot of text here that is not getting to its point. Style in writing comes only after the long tossing of building great sentences, paragraphs, and longer passages. Okay, sure. So that's just practice makes perfect. Sure, hard to argue with that one. Pay attention to what does not belong. That's editing advice, not writing advice. Edit using hide and seek. Don't know what this one means. When you look for problems, look one at a time. This looks to me like proofreading and probably doing it aloud. It's probably fine advice. Oh, read aloud. Always serve your audience. Okay, let's not think about our audience. We're writing. We're writing because we have to write. If you are writing a instruction manual, if you're writing for a newspaper, you have an audience. Awesome. But we're doing creative writing, and we're writing because the writing wants to come out. So no, don't don't think about your audience until you have one, or at least until you have a whole draft and you're editing and you're thinking about that. Okay, here's a Reddit one. I have Reddit up here open too. So I skipped all these ones at the top because they all had people's names in them. So let's go to 7 principles. This has someone's name in it too, but let's see what happens. William Zinsser. I don't know if I'm gonna bring shame upon my family by saying I don't know who that is. Okay, he wrote On Writing Well. I actually do own that book. 7 principles this person learned from this book. The personal transaction. Writing is about sharing a piece of yourself on paper. Okay. Many people don't write naturally. Simplicity, cut out necessary words. How can I simplify that? Okay. Ask yourself, what am I trying to say? Again, that's editing. It's cool though. Um, Clutter. Again, that's editing. Style. I like that. Be yourself. Seems complicated. Sorry, it seems complicated because I read it in my head. Writing's like having a personal conversation on paper. So say I, me, we, and us. If you're not comfortable with I, at least think it in your head. Believe in your own identity and your own opinions. I actually really love that one because a lot of people are taught to never use first person in their writing because when you're learning in secondary school how to write like a 5 paragraph essay, which will never come up again in your entire life, um, you're supposed to be objective or whatever, but that that's not how anything works. We're not objective. Um, Look at this one. It says ignore the audience. Okay. I'm not getting mad at this one. But again, these are all really editing advice. How you use your words matter. It's nice, but it's also, again, I'm gonna just go ahead and say this is for editing. This is for when you have a draft. I think this one right here, usage, is the only one that's really for, I think personal transaction is the and usage seem to be the only ones that are really about the writing process. And they also are pretty much the same. Stop thinking about what other people think while you're writing. And then it's good to avoid jargon. Good usage means keep it simple. I mean, that one's again editing. Maybe I take it back. So I'm medium on this one. It again, it's from a textbook, or maybe not a textbook, but it's a craft book. And it's been boiled down by a reader of the craft book. So it's for people who are taking this path really, really seriously, and it is mostly editing advice. I think the really beautiful thing in this here is write naturally and don't worry about the audience. But again, um, even this guy who I have now learned that I admire, the advice isn't perfect. You really have to be confident about your work if you're going to use one of these things, and it has to come later in the process. So over here, I just looked up writing guide on Reddit because I know a lot of people go to Reddit. I think Reddit's great. Um, oh, writing guide is a subreddit. Cool. Um, these are very specific. Let's not do that. Um, what are your best tips for beginner writers? So this one is the one that made me sad because I don't, if it's writing advice and you're a beginner, it should just be write, write what comes, write what feels good. But let's see what happens here. Oh, thanks, pepperoni, please. Said exactly what I said. Don't be afraid of rambling. Yes, beautiful. Turns out Reddit is cool. Not always. I'm not advertising Reddit. Read more. This is great. Okay, you guys, you can have this one. Best tips for beginner writers under the subreddit writing. Okay, well, let's go back. Um, your very best. So you see, the users get me. Um, here, let's find what I don't. I think that I don't like this person, but I don't know who they are for sure. So let's see what this person says about um, essay writing. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, goodness. Okay. I don't think I like this already. It asks why you're writing the essay, which hopefully you're writing because you need to write it. Um, nope, that is the wrong sub. Sorry, friends. Um, here's how you write a story. Okay, I liked that one. Mm-mm-mm. I'm actually really enjoying this, friends. But I will say, regardless of Reddit turning out to be a really fun place for me to go, um, If you are looking at any of these subs, especially if you go to any of those links that are like, here's some advice on writing from a person you've never heard of. Don't use those. Um, oh, here we go. Found what I was looking for, you guys. You guys. Easy steps to improve your writing. Fix your grammar. That's an editing step. Um, make your characters sound like real people. Not advice. Not advice at all. Um, no expedition dump of more than 5 sentences. Like I said before, tell Stephen King, tell Joseph Conrad, tell Tolkien. Yeah, sometimes it's annoying, and sometimes it's what makes that writer who they are. Don't worry about cliches. I enjoy this. I don't have feelings about cliches, but it is specifically frowned upon in the strunk and white elements of style. Slow your scenes down. That's not always the move. Sometimes that's the move. Not always. It also doesn't say how. It just says do it. Um, stick to one point of view. Again, depends on the book. Um, I thought it was all numbers below 10 and below that should be spelled out. So I think probably don't worry about that one because that's an editor's job. I do like this one. Read books. Yep. Everyone here is arguing with this person. Explain what you mean about grammar and dialogue. This one says, find a balance between not rushing scenes and not boring the reader. About number 2, how are you supposed to make your characters sound like real people? Um, this person says, tenses keep slipping me up. That's editing. There's a little wiggle room. So, yeah. No guide knows you. Most things that will matter, you'll take care of in editing. Every single rule, whatever rule means, because rules about language are not real, because language was invented by humans. No one is the boss of grammar. They're not. It's not time for that guide. It's not. If you are confident about your work, if you know your work really well, like a very serious voice there, then sure. But research the guide before you use it. I have a lot of craft books, which maybe I will bring on sometimes. I got fiction and poetry behind me, so not craft books. Make sure the book comes from a writer you trust. Either a writer you trust wrote it, or a writer you trust has read it prior to recommending it. Craft books are far more useful than guides. Anything that's a bunch of rules that you must always follow is gonna be wrong and probably written by a jerk. Your writing is about you. It is not about rules. So that's today's talk. Moving on. I will give you updates on the Midwest Writing Center and then a writing prompt for you to take away with you. So, this week at the Midwest Writing Center, Thursday is a big day for us. Thursday, April 10th. We have the next edition of Writer Regroup. That's going to be from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Brood Book in Davenport on Harrison Street. That's just for folks who want to, excuse me, who want company while they write. We can chat a little about the writing that we're doing, but mostly it's writing time, writing in a group. Later that day, very excitingly, at Roz Talks, doors are at 6, open mic at 7, featured reading at 8. Elizabeth Willis will be our headline reader at Spectra. She is an incredible poet. She was runner-up for the Pulitzer. She was runner-up for the National Book Award. She is just phenomenal. She can just write anything and make it good. Her latest book, Lion Taming in America, is um innovative and gorgeous. It'll be for sale at the event. Um, it's at Roz Talks. It's free, and there's an open mic, so you should come and have your whole mind blown. Then on this Saturday, April 12th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's Central Time, but the event is online. Um, We will have a workshop with Anait Cass called Transmissions from the Ancestors. That is going to be a really gorgeous class that looks at how we can tell the stories of our ancestors, sort of take, a photo or an heirloom and understand its place in our own lives. And it's a generative writing class. Anait is going to take us through oh man, her book is close, but not close enough to reach, through the process that she went through to write her book, Reparations of the Heart. It's $20 for MWC members, $30 for non-members. It's going to be a really, really, I don't know, wholesome, holistic, generative writing class. I have worked with Anait a few times. She had a signing at the Atlas Collective recently. I'm really excited about taking that class. If you don't already know, it's National Poetry Month. Every single day of the month, we will be posting on at least one social media and our YouTube account a new video from a different poet every single day, reading original work just for us. So check that out. It's youtube.com/Midwest Writing Center. Also, maybe you're already on YouTube watching this, so you just click over into our channel, which also you should subscribe. You should subscribe. You should like this video. Give us comments. We want people to find us. We want free writing advice and supplemental writing advice. Oh, that's funny given this. Supplemental, lessons and information to get out into the world. So you can help us do that by, liking and sharing and all that stuff. Okay. Next Wednesday, April 16th, this is exciting, is the release party and reading for The Body Open Source. So that is the anthology that came from the prompt of the collaboration with Galvin Fine Arts Center, Being Human in the Age of AI. The book is gorgeous. The work is incredible. I thought that it was a really difficult prompt to write into, but y'all submitted just gorgeous work. It was really hard choosing submissions. Yeah, so that reading and release party is next Wednesday, April 16th at 6 p.m. And first 100 people there get a free book. So that's cool. That book will be the one that's free. We still have Writer Studio first and third Saturday of every single month. That's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. We have an online group. We have an in-person group. In-person group meets at the Midwest Writing Center, which is at the Rock Island Public Library on the ground floor, right next to the children's section. We will have another writer regroup on April 22nd from 12 to 2 p.m. That's going to be at the Midwest Writing Center. We'll have some coffee, we'll have some snacks, and we will write. Thought it would be nice to welcome folks into our space for one of these, and so we're doing it. We have another Spectra reading in April, which is going to be April 24th at Roz Talks again, free. And we're headlining MC Highland. That is a brand new announcement. It's going to be amazing. She is so talented, so cool. Um, yeah, okay. I'm just gonna do, we're like nearing the end of April in my announcements, so I'm gonna try to stop at April. But we will have one more workshop this month, Saturday, April 26th from 11 to 1. Online again. So cool, accessible. Again, also inexpensive, $20 for members, $30 for non-members. That one is with Tatiana Schlote-Bonet, who has been on Write More Light and has incredible writing advice in that one. I couldn't question any of the writing advice she gave. She's a novelist. This class is called Writing Fear. She is a horror writer. But I will say, because I've talked to her about it, you can watch that video and see that her writing advice is really not genre specific. And what this class is going to be is writing a protagonist who is just fully fleshed out enough that you can write their antagonist and really use that character to drive the plot, because if your character's not fleshed out enough, we're not invested enough. Um, yeah, okay. So that is today's calendar update. Um, thank you for hanging out with me today. Please don't use that guide. Don't use that guide. Um, and here is your writing prompt. I want you to put 5, 10 minutes on the timer, whatever you can afford to give to yourself, and write whatever comes. Um, whatever comes. It can be a journal, it can be a poem, it can be a list, it can be a story. Um, okay. So, um, you, or say your character, um, find yourself digging in the dirt for some kind of vegetable. Maybe it's potato, maybe it's a potato is probably a better one because you can't tell where they're going to be down below, but maybe it's a carrot. Um, what do you find instead? Thanks for hanging out with me today, and as always, please write more light into your life.